Welcome back, guys. Today, we are talking about Anne Hathaway and her performative body positivity comments that she made in a recent interview for her new movie, Devil Wears Prada 2. We're also going to talk about Olivia Wilde and a video that surfaced of Olivia Wilde on some red carpet doing some interview that people are saying looks quite scary. People are saying that this is just another case of Ozempic face. We're also going to talk about Ozempic face in regards to Meghan Trainor. Meghan Trainor, who we know of as the body positive queen who has lost a significant amount of weight with the help of Ozempic. We're also going to be discussing Ariana Grande's new photo shoot for her new album Petals, I think is what it's called. Some people were surprised to see some of her pictures, or maybe surprise is not the right word, but they said her pictures were jarring. We're also going to talk about Emma Stone because people are also accusing her of being on Ozempic. So we're going to discuss whether or not these people have a point. Are these celebs getting too thin? Or is this just another case of body shaming and mass hysteria over this Ozempic epidemic or thin epidemic? But real quick, if you've not yet subscribed, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube or on Spotify if you would like to hear more content from me. As many of you guys know, I was demonetized on YouTube recently, so your subscriptions and your likes still help me, still help the channel grow. And of course, you can also find me on Patreon for more exclusive content and full episodes or full videos, because there are a lot of things I cannot say on YouTube anymore. A lot of things I have to be careful with because it's very hard to understand what is allowed and what isn't allowed on YouTube anymore. So just to be safe, I have to put a lot on my Patreon account now, but I will still continue to put out free content or as much as I can. But if you are curious about things that I cannot say on YouTube, then check out the Patreon. I will leave all the links below. But let's just jump into Anne Hathaway. Okay, so it says Anne Hathaway pushed for diverse body types in The Devil Wears Prada 2. So this is just the article. We're going to watch the video in a minute and watch the video clip in case you guys haven't seen it. But this says Anne Hathaway reportedly advocated for a wider range of body types among runway models featured in The Devil Wears Prada 2. Speaking to Variety at the world premiere, the actress said, "I thought the scene would be so much more enjoyable for the audience if we had a wider range of bodies on display. All different shapes are beautiful." Many had thought the body positivity movement was a thing of the past, but Hathaway's comments highlight the fact that Hollywood is still sensitive to calls for representation, even when they might be at odds with the narrative of the film. The push reflects a deliberate shift from the 2006 original film's focus on the fashion industry's rigid beauty standards. That movie, based on Lauren Weisberger's novel, famously skewered the obsession with unattainable thinness. The new film reportedly explores leadership transitions at the fictional fashion magazine and broader changes in print media. How much of the first film's appeal will translate into this new thematic environment remains to be seen. Early buzz and box office tracking indicate strong audience engagement. However, Hathaway's comments suggest the world of high fashion portrayed on screen will look different, both from the 2006 film and potentially from reality itself. While filming runway sequences at Real Milan Fashion Week events last year, Hathaway and co-star Meryl Streep were struck by the alarmingly thin models they saw. Streep mentioned in Harper's Bazaar cover story how Hathaway immediately approached producers. Annie clocked it too, and she made a beeline to the producers about it, securing promises that the models in the show that we were putting together for our film would not be so skeletal, Streep said, praising her colleague as a stand-up girl. Oh boy. The reported influence of Anne Hathaway in casting decisions for The Devil Wears Prada 2 has been interpreted by some observers as a part of a broader evolution in entertainment toward more inclusive representation. However, also raises questions about how closely film productions should mirror the industries they depict, particularly when those industries have long established aesthetic norms. High fashion, in particular, has historically emphasized a narrow range of body types as part of its visual identity on the runway. Both high fashion and Hollywood have always represented unrealistic beauty standards. For some, the fantasy is part of the appeal. Arguably, it was the foundation of the original film. The Devil Wears Prada 2 is reuniting Anne Hathaway, Meryl Streep, Stanley Tucci, and Emily Blunt. What remains to be seen is how significant of a factor Hathaway's push for diverse body types affects the experience. It also creates an unavoidable question for audiences and creators alike. When a film is depicting a strictly professional environment, how much should it reflect the world as it is, and how much should it reshape it for broader inclusivity? The Devil Wears Prada 2 breaks the illusion and isn't as glamorous as its predecessor. It may ultimately reveal less about changing fashion standards and more about how modern storytelling increasingly negotiates between preserving aesthetic fantasy and responding to evolving cultural trends. Okay, so that's that. Let's just watch the clip of her saying this real quick, and then I will give you guys my thoughts.
I had noticed that we had beautiful models on set, and a lot of them were maybe more traditionally model sized. And I knew what the context of the scene was, and I thought the scene would be so much more enjoyable for the audience if we had just a wider range of bodies on display because all different shapes are beautiful. And so I just went to the producers and I asked that question: don't you think the scene would be stronger if we had a more inclusive approach to size, and they looked up and they were so sad that they hadn't thought about it. I think they were so locked in that they just kind of were going with the flow. But as soon as they saw it, they were the ones who just made it happen in like an hour. So
you're a good leader. You started the conversation.
Oh well, it all begins with a question, right? I had.
Okay, so I have a couple things to say about this. In some ways, I will come to her defense, but my first reaction hearing this is I just don't believe for a second, really, that Anne Hathaway said this, or at least not in this way. And what I mean is, Anne Hathaway does not strike me as someone who is body positive, okay? She is very noticeably thin. She's very intentionally thin. She's had a lot of work done, okay? I think it's been allegedly she's got some kind of mini facelift done. Like she's been doing a lot, all right? And I don't know much about her. I have heard that she's also not a very nice person. Allegedly. I don't know. Anne Hathaway fans don't come for me. I really don't care about her either way. But in this conversation, though, I just find it very hard to believe that she's some body positivity queen and really cares about all these other women. I just don't. What this sounds like, even her talking, the way she's talking about it, like I just thought, wouldn't it be so good if we had other body types involved? It sounds so like self-congratulatory, like, oh my God, look at me being so woke, look at me being so progressive. Oh, I'm such a nice girl. I'm a girl's girl. Look at me. I'm trying to be body positive. It just sounds so performative to me. That is my first impression. I actually don't believe that this happened whatsoever. And then in the article where Meryl Streep was like, yeah, she's a real stand-up gal. That also sounds really performative. Like Anne Hathaway asked her to say that, or it was like a deal they had together to make themselves look really good. You know what I mean? So I don't buy that for a second. I think what might have happened is she might have been the person to suggest adding this into the movie. Like maybe originally they were just going to have straight size models because they wanted to keep to the original theme of the movie. And maybe she suggested it, but not because out of the goodness of her heart. I think she did it because she was probably like, oh, this is a marketing ploy. Like this is the culture right now. We want to get body positivity points. We want to get woke points. So that's how I feel like it actually happened. So after she said this, she got some pushback, okay, from people like you and me who kind of called BS on this, all right? And something else interesting that other people pointed out is that, hey, well, you got other straight size models, girls who originally had this gig, you got them fired because you wanted people who were of bigger sizes. You wanted people who were not traditional models. So now you had all these other girls, these normal models, I guess, that were slotted for this role. And now you got them fired. Okay. So that was one of the big controversies too about what she was saying. Apparently, she said in another interview, Anne Hathaway claims no thin models fired from The Devil Wears Prada 2 after her body positivity push. That's what she says. Who knows? So let's see. She says it was just kind of a quick thing that happened on set, and now it's become a much bigger story. And Hathaway said about the model controversy surrounding Devil Wears Prada. I do want to mention there's a little misinformation getting out there right now that people were fired because of size inclusivity, and that just didn't happen. So who knows? She said nobody lost their jobs. In fact, it created more jobs, she said. It's so hard because I can't say what the scene is about, but there's a song that Lady Gaga wrote, and it's a beautiful, amazing song. So I mean, yeah, who knows? It could be true, could not be true. Who knows? I have not seen the movie yet myself. I don't really plan to until it comes out on like Netflix or Prime or something. I'm not really interested in seeing this. I like the first one. But yeah, I don't know. I also think because most sequels are just not good. And especially like her making this claim, and I kind of already knew it was going to be this way anyway because of the time we're living in. But like the original article pointed out, is when you're making these changes, okay, including doing the body diversity and including the body positivity thing into it, it takes away from the original, not only aesthetic of the original film, but kind of the point behind the original film. The original film was about how crazy the fashion industry is, or at least the high fashion industry. Okay. It was about the crazy, unrealistic standards. It was about how people were treated or mistreated in that industry. And it did it in a comedic way. Like there was obviously like Emily Blunt, right? Her character was always on a diet and she's like, I eat nothing until I feel like I'm going to pass out. And then I eat a cube of cheese. Like it was meant to kind of poke fun at itself and the ludicrousness of it, right? And then when she was like a size 6, them calling her fat. So to me, I think having them include this body positivity thing, it just doesn't make sense for the film unless they are totally trying to water it down. And now maybe Miranda Priestley has had a total change of heart, which is something else new that they're doing in all these movies. Is like, oh, actual villains of the movies are actually really softies at heart, and they're just misunderstood people. So who knows? Again have not seen it myself. I think it is out now. If you guys have seen the movie, and you have your thoughts on it, let me know. But that's what I'm expecting given her comments on this body positivity thing. So the other thing though, I feel like I have to defend her a little bit, or I feel like it's a good conversation to have is, okay, look, some people were calling her out because she is a thin woman, all right, and very clearly intentionally thin, that her even mentioning that they should give other women of different sizes a shot, that's laughable, that's wrong, or she's being disingenuous, or she's even a mean girl for suggesting that. Look, for sure, there is a type of skinny girl. We've talked about this. I had a video about this. It got deleted from YouTube. But there is a type of skinny girl, skinny woman who is very intentionally skinny and who very much does want other women to not be thin, or she gatekeeps what it takes to be thin. And she's, oh, this body positivity queen and telling you, oh, you can stay big, you can stay fat. That's fine. You can just keep eating whatever you want to, when she knows damn well she would not want to be fat herself. And sometimes it comes from a more devious intention, is that, yeah, she wants other women to stay fat because it's less competition. So I understand that. I don't know that this is the case with Anne Hathaway. I think she was just doing this because she was trying to be performative. I don't think she cares one way or another about fat girls or non-fat girls. I think she just thought this would give her some kind of brownie points, and that's why she made this comment. At the same time, I don't think that it is totally unbelievable for a thinner woman to be accepting of other body sizes. So I did a video on the Victoria's Secret fashion show, this past Victoria's Secret fashion show. And I talked about how they had the normal supermodels, but they also had girls who were influencers or girls just with different body types. My initial reaction to that show was I don't know. I did not see any girls who, at least to me, looked like they were morbidly obese. Okay. They did not look like they were so overweight that it was a problem. It wasn't like, they were putting Tess Holiday on the runway and then claiming this is healthy and fun and beautiful. To me, they had Ashley Graham, who I think was probably the biggest girl on there. The other girls were just different body types. And I know a lot of people were just upset by that fact that they weren't all just straight size models. And I agree in some way, and that it doesn't really align with the brand that Victoria's Secret used to be. At the same time, these brands, these movies, they can do whatever they want. Like, we can be upset about it all we want, but at the end of the day, it's their choice. I also do not have an issue as someone who does not want to be fat, okay? Someone who used to be fat and very much likes being thinner and very much works at it, okay? I'm very vocal about my desire to have a certain standard, certain aesthetic. At the same time, I also do not want to impose my aesthetic or my standards onto other people. We all have our own standards. And my whole message is, look, do what you want with your body if it's healthy. So there are a lot of healthy weight ranges, shapes, and sizes in between being very thin and before becoming overweight or obese. Okay. So I think it's one thing if, and I haven't seen this movie, was Anne Hathaway talking about putting morbidly obese women in this fashion show, in this movie, or was she just talking about having different sizes and bodies? And so I know some people got like upset with me for talking about the Victoria's Secret fashion show and how, oh, well, you're a hypocrite because you wouldn't want to be a size 10 or a size 12. No, I wouldn't want to be, me personally. That doesn't mean that I judge everyone else's bodies or have the same standards for everyone else's bodies as I have for mine. So I don't see any problem with having a different range of body types in fashion and wherever, if that's what the brand wants. It doesn't bother me. I don't know. Some people are just get really funny about this. Like they get really upset by seeing any kind of diversity. And to me, it was never about not having diversity. It's always just been about glorifying obesity, glorifying being overweight, and shaming other women for wanting to have different standards or aesthetics for themselves, for wanting to fit the norm or to the ideal beauty standard or the original ideal beauty standard. Okay. So that's my whole issue. So yeah, I don't know. Anne Hathaway is kind of damned if she does, damned if she doesn't, because she is a thin, beautiful woman. So if she doesn't talk about body diversity, or if she didn't push for having more inclusive models in there, people would still say something. And now that she does talk about it and she does say, hey, even though I'm a thin, beautiful woman, I think there's nothing wrong with having a different range of body sizes, she still gets attacked, right? So yeah, I don't know. Those are just my thoughts on it. Again, I have not seen the movie yet. Just judging from this interview, judging from these comments, it's just very eye rolly to me. I'm just kind of tired of just the performative, oh, body inclusivity, just this performative of just trying to get these woke points and be as inclusive as possible. It just doesn't feel authentic to me. And I think that there are certain cases or certain films, for example, this one, which is the whole point of the movie was about how crazy and unrealistic the standards in fashion are, which is why she left the fashion industry at the end of the movie. And so now I just think this kind of dulls it down, it waters it down. So I don't know. Those are just my thoughts on it. Thanks for watching my video on YouTube or listening on Spotify. If you want to see the full version of this video, then head to my Patreon where you will see the full version of this video as well as exclusive videos and content not suitable for YouTube. Starting at just $3 a month, you will also get access to all of the videos that I had on YouTube previously that are now deleted. You will also get more personal access to me. I respond to all my comments and messages on my Patreon. That's where I'm putting most of my focus now. Depending on your membership, you will also get access to private group chats and be able to request personal videos as well as more personalized Q&A videos. I also will be doing some live sessions with you guys. My Patreon is just a good place where we all can connect on a more personal level. And also it's a place where I can talk more unfiltered and really answer your questions the way I want to answer them, really give advice the way I want to give advice, and say things that I am not allowed to say here on YouTube. I also have my Spotify subscriptions available if you prefer to listen on Spotify. For just $3 a month, you will get access to all the exclusive videos. Spotify does not allow me to give you any extras beyond the videos. So all the other stuff like the chat forums, that's all on my Patreon. But if you don't care about any of that and you just want to listen to the videos, then that is also an option for you. I will leave the links below both to my Spotify and to my Patreon. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you over on Patreon.